This is a crime.
Because they are migrants.
Because they are migrants. This is a crime. Going to school where most of migrants studies, going to hospital to chase away people who are seeking for help, for medical help.
Hospital.
In the hospital. This is a crime.
Because they are migrants.
So 20% of South African GDP are coming from the SMEs. Right. And those SMEs in South Africa, we all know, are mostly small barbershops at the corners in South Africa, Johannesburg, Nigerian shopkeepers, Congolese restaurant, Malawian, South African import and export businesses, and we know that.
But they keep saying we are targeting illegal immigrants. How do they know this person is illegal, this one is not? They have created the enemy.
Yeah,
so all this political issue, economical issue, corruption, people are not looking at the same more.
Anything is happening in the country, you need to create an enemy. You need to create a narrative.
It's almost the media is making that Dudula look good.
Definitely. It's not just Dudula. It's Dudula, there are other groups as well.
But Dudula are the main.
Dudula is the main. Yeah. I haven't seen South Africa media publicly condemning the crimes happening in attacks, xenophobic attack. I haven't seen that much.
As a journalist, do you think South African press might be under pressure from the government people? For example, Nigeria, from 1960 to 1995, has helped ANC, political party, with more than 61 billion American dollars. Do you think there's a lack of education there? They need to know exactly what happened. Africa must unite. South Africa 2026, xenophobia, economic crisis, and future of African solidarity. Africa must unite. In our show today, we discuss a painful and urgent crisis. We confront the issues shaping the destiny of our continent. A crisis that cuts off into the soul of Africa unity. A crisis that forces us to ask difficult questions about identity, economic leadership, and perhaps most importantly, can Pan-Africanism survive if Africans no longer trust one another? Today's conversation is not about division. It's about truth. It's about accountability. And it's about finding solutions before anger destroys the dream of Africa unity. And once again, the question echoes across the continent. What is happening to the Rainbow Nation? But today, we refuse simplistic answers. This conversation is not about blaming ordinary South African alone. It is about unemployment. It is about inequality. It is about failed leadership. It is about corruption. It is about border policy. It is about economic frustration being redirected toward vulnerable Africans instead of system of power. And above it all, it is about whether Pan-Africanism still means anything today in 21st century. Because you must remember, African migrants did not create apartheid. African migrants did not take public money. African migrants did not create unemployment in South Africa. So, why are they becoming the face of public anger? Today, we ask very difficult questions. But we also search for solutions, because Africa cannot rebuild unity while Africans fear or fight one another. Welcome to AUK Media. I am your host, Philip Shamamba, and this is Africa Must Unite. Today, I'm joined with a professional journalist, political analyst, Junior Badila. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Philip Shamamba.
Long time.
Long time no see. Yeah, we're here.
We're here.
Doing what is good for Africa.
Right. South Africans are saying on 30th of June, all foreign Africans must leave. Do you think that ultimatum, that deadline against Africans? Because President Ramaphosa last week had a speech trying to calm things down. Do you think the government of South Africa has taken precautions enough for this not to happen, as a political analyst?
Let's talk about the recent public appearance of South African President Cyril Ramaphosa. I've listened to that speech, but you can tell from any observers, politician, or even analyst that he lacks leadership. Unfortunately, on his speech, first of all, he said that South African protest riots or demos were legitimate with regard to, illegal immigrant in South Africa, which is one side. In other things, he said that most of the protests are politically motivated. Yeah. So that means he pointed out that two issues. The first issue is the post-apartheid era, he himself as a leader, they failed to control immigration. Right. You mentioned something very important, the border control. Right? So South African failed, to be quite honest, for post-apartheid. South African borders were open to African, not just to African, but to countries, peoples that help apartheid leaders like Nelson Mandela during the struggle, the fight against the white regime, the white apartheid regime in South Africa, yes, to freedom. Their borders were opened, but opened in order to come and assist, accompany us in order to implement a rainbow society country, a free rainbow and free society. But they failed to control immigration. This is legitimate, as he said, that there are some issues that they need to resolve in terms of controlling immigration. But let's say in immigration, Philip Shamamba, control of immigration is a global issue now.
Everywhere, even in the UK we see it.
It's a global issue now. We've seen in Ireland,
even the football.
Yeah, we've seen what's happening in Ireland. Yeah. It's about immigration. We've seen in the US, it's about immigration. It's a broader issue. It's a global issues now. Yeah. Brexit was part of immigration.
Make an excuse on that point.
They cannot scapegoating people, African migrants, because of that issues. Yeah. And we need to bear in mind that there will be election in November. He even pointed out President Ramaphosa, that they were ahead of November election. And this is not the first time talking about immigration. So every year for the past, I think the first ever demos, protests against African, I'm not talking about immigration overall, but I'm talking about African immigrants, starting 2013. Up to now, we've seen every year there is a group of called Dudula, I think, a group of called Dudula, which is there to lead the protest. Yeah. It's more let's say, going to the school, talking about, let's stay about immigration, going to school where most of migrants studies, going to hospital, to chase away people who are seeking for help, for medical help. Hospital. In the hospital. This is a crime.
Because they are migrants.
Because they are migrants. This is a crime.
So critics who are saying that immigration is not really the issue, but the broader issue is they argue that politicians deliberately weaponizing anti-immigrant sentiment during this time. So it's more likely about unemployment, competition of resources, that we can take immigration away from this. Do you think?
I do agree. We have to take immigration away of this. Most of the African migrants who are in South Africa, they consider South Africa as a home. Right. They run businesses. Most of businesses run by Nigerian, by Somalian, by Mozambican, Malawian, Congolese. They contributed into South African economy. We need to bear in mind in terms of statistics, 90% of SME, small and medium enterprises, are contributing to South African GDP. So 20% of South African GDP are coming from the SMEs. Right. And those SMEs in South Africa, we all know, are mostly small barbershops in the corners in South African Johannesburg. Nigerian shopkeepers, Congolese restaurants, Malawian, South African import and export businesses, and we know that. And most of the countries, that's we need to bear in mind as well. There are countries with issues like Congo. They're going there for a particular reason, just like what's happening in Ireland, what's happening here in the UK, what's happening in the US. They leave their communities, they leave Congo, Somali, Malawi, Mozambique, Nigeria, to go in South Africa, settle down, run business, make South Africa as their own, as a home. Most of them, they have families, but they have to leave businesses. They have to leave what they considered as their home. They have to leave it behind and go back.
So everything starts from something, right? So you think somebody started all this immigration at the Africans. So for you, is it politicians who have created this, or just the people themselves of South Africa?
Yeah, but politicians are the role model. And in every society, we need politicians are elite. They're the role model. They're running politics.
They show the way.
Yeah, I've been listening to, I've followed for the past month since the Dula movement started in South Africa. I've been following South African debate, even in the parliament. There was no issue in the parliament that to address those crimes, because they are crimes.
They are crimes.
Chasing people from hospital, going to school where kids of America going there. Going to their home.
Yeah, that's like shooting an ambulance.
Going to flame their home. You know, people who are living there.
Set homes on fire.
Set on fire. Those are crimes. A crime. There's no. We cannot justify. We cannot cover crime. Crime is a crime.
But they keep saying we are targeting illegal immigrants. How do they know this person is illegal? This one is not.
That's another.
When they are attacking them.
You mentioned something very critical, Philip. You mentioned politician. You know, in any politician play important role within a society.
Exactly.
And we've seen here. I don't want to mention UK. We've seen how Nigel Farage is getting popularity. He's elite. He's a politician. We've seen Tomin Robinson.
So there should be example.
We've seen that. We've seen how immigrants. How can I know if you're immigrant because you don't speak my accent?
But the thing, they don't just say immigrant. They say illegal immigrants.
That's another thing.
How do you know somebody's illegal immigrant? You don't even know if he has his passport. You don't even know if he's got visa or not. You're just attacking somebody. Say, we're attacking illegal immigrants. You know, we know in South Africa
there was an issue of corruption within the police. The poor delivery of a public service, we all know that is in the news, and we've seen a group of people claiming to defend their country, which is right. If you are a citizen of England, you want to defend England, it's your legitimate right to defend your country. But there is a law and regulation how to defend your country. But we've seen a group of, on the news, is on the social media, going to ask people their papers on the streets. Some of those group of people, they even declining the legitimate, the authenticity of the papers. That this paper is wrong, which is wrong from them, because it's only police, immigration police, who has a duty and the legal to contest or to justify the legality.
Right now, South Africa, even political class, they are divided. You have one side, Julius Malema, who is saying, no, these are your brothers, they must stay here. You have other people on the right wing, they say, no, these people have to go. So in general, we can say what we call in politics creation of enemy, which is they created an enemy and they shift the issue to this enemy, so everybody will forget about what is going on there. They will all concentrate on this one. Do you think that is what is happening in South Africa?
Exactly, that's what's happening.
So they have created the enemy.
Yeah,
all this political issue, economical issue, corruption, people are not looking at it anymore.
Anything is happening in the country, you need to create an enemy. You need to create a narrative.
People,
this is a narrative that they're creating. That if we're having social and economic issues. There is the rising of an unemployment in South Africa for you black people because of African migrants. So African migrants as they've been taken as a scapegoat. That's clear. And we've seen that in the politician, as you see. Julius Malema is trying to step away from that agenda, that anti-African agenda.
He's left-wing politician.
Mostly left-wing. If you've seen, you follow him recently, he's condemning publicly the riot.
Okay.
The Dudula movement is condemning. So he's stepping aside as pro-African, pan-Africanist. We've seen that for the past. But he has gained the popularity. And he knows that the struggle they're facing nothing to do with African migrants who are settled down in South Africa. However, on another side, if you've seen ANC leaders, they are kept quiet. They are not talking much about the riot because there will be election in November.
So they have to show they are behind South Africans who are fighting the so-called enemies, African migrants. So they cannot go against that because they want to get elected from the people who are chasing these so-called illegal immigrants.
Definitely. Look where the riot, mostly Dudula movement, is gaining popularity. Johannesburg.
Yeah, Johannesburg, yeah.
And 85% of population of Johannesburg occupied by South African, black South African, who are claiming that they have been disadvantaged because of the social issues. The public is not trying to address their current issues. And we know that Johannesburg is, the mayor of Johannesburg is for ANC. So this is a time not to retaliate. This is a time to keep quiet. And they say that I listened to one of the Dudula leaders say, we've listened to the President Cyril Ramaphosa. We are asking, that was they asked, we are asking for a public fund because we haven't been founded. And we are asking for the president to come back, to show support from what he said, from his speeches, his speech. But we are not agreeing with what he said. We are asking for president to come back and to show support.
Wow. But you, as a professional journalist yourself, I've done a bit of research. Not many people know about this ultimatum of the 30th of June. Do you think somewhere the press is failing the mission on South Africa? Because this problem, I don't know, for you as a professional journalist, you think is it really the issue has been addressed properly?
The issue hasn't been addressed properly. And the press, overall, the press in South Africa and globally, has feeling this what's happening now. We've seen how some of the media, we gone on X, we've seen how it has been popularized on X. We see on YouTube how, in terms of views, the riot is getting views. And they have been, you know, media is media. Media can create and can destroy. We've seen Dudula movement has been created. The leaders, they've been appear as the defender. Also, they are defending the integrity of South Africa.
It's almost the media is making the Dudula look good.
Definitely. Dudula now is popularized in South Africa is a defense movement to defend South Africa's sovereignty, according to the media now. However, the media is not portraying what Dudula is doing in terms of control of immigration, of immigrants, control of stays. We've seen how people on the street, they are stopping what they call immigrant, and as you know, asking them to exhibit their paper, I mean their stay or the legal document on the street, which is the job of immigration police. But they are doing that. And we've seen how they are going to hospitals, they are going to schools. We've seen how they are setting the houses of immigrants in fire. But police have kept quiet. Police are doing less to control the movement. And sometimes police are leading them how to control the legal document of what they are calling as immigrant. So that you can tell that they are less which has been portrayed in terms of crime, because crime is crime. Less crime has been portrayed, but more of the anger which has been published.
Right. As a journalist, do you think is the social media is taking over from the normal, what we call press? Because what's going on in South Africa, social media has done more to create a problem, to take them where they are. And we're saying here, press is not doing enough. It looks like social media is doing more, a lot more than the press itself.
Yeah, social media plays a role. We've seen how Elon Musk with X is trying to promote some of what they call liberal views in terms of immigration. We've seen that in Ireland, we see that in the US, we've seen that here in the UK, and we've seen that in South Africa as well. I don't know. I don't have much to say if X has been heavily involved in Dudula movement or in riot in South Africa.
I haven't seen that much on X.
I haven't seen that much as well, but
do you think they are restricting the Dudula movement to use platform like X? Or because if you see the enormity of the problem that is there, and you see less of it on platform like X, Facebook, you don't really see it much. You think there might be some restrictions there?
I don't know much. I don't have much to say, but they're on YouTube. If you look most of the Dudula, I mean, it's not just Dudula. It's Dudula. There are other groups as well.
But Dudula are the main.
Dudula is the main. Yeah. There are other groups as well. We are heavily involved, but they are massively look the views, million views on YouTube. I do understand some of the anger from African countries which are evacuating their citizens. There will be quite a lot of reactions as well across there. That's why increase the views. But they are popular on social media, mostly on YouTube. Whether they've been they've been promoted on some of the social media platform or no, but the thing is, yes, media play a critical and important role in terms of promoting most of the views. And currently, I haven't seen, talking about South Africa, I haven't seen South Africa media publicly condemning the crimes happening in attacks, xenophobic attack. I haven't seen that much. Most of it just normal interviews, like why this has been seen already. It's a deja vu that why you doing this, how many immigrants are occupied. We've seen that. But media need to go behind. So what next?
But media has the power because, like you say, social media has taken over. Yeah. So for the press, and you have national press, for example, that can broadcast the whole country. People who are sending messages on social media can be quite limited, maybe in WhatsApp or other platforms. If you look at this, the government, maybe they're creating an enemy. Yeah. So they might be stopping or trying to politicize press sides on these issues. As a journalist, do you think South African press might be under pressure from the government people?
Look, most of the South African media, I think there is a news SBC, quite a news. Most of them are any media in South Africa, similar to other countries as well, are divided. You go wings, left wings, pro Julius Malema. They are pro. Some of them who are liberal. You can tell. And you've seen that most of them are divided in terms of the current situation. Yeah. And they are not going behind. So what we are discussing here, so media in South Africa are not going behind in terms of this crisis. I mean, they are not trying to find out what next. What next? Not just for South African, but for the people who has been victim. I've seen in Nigeria, I've been watching a debate today in Nigeria. Nigeria, even in Ghana, they are trying to discussing that issues as well. What next?
Exactly.
What comes after?
So by saying what next, because we say we are going to ask questions to see what the problem is, not only concerning the problem, but the solution too.
Yeah.
That's why you say what next. We live here as immigrants. We came to live in the UK as immigrants, okay? And we haven't seen something like xenophobia like in South Africa now, which means they're doing something right. So they can accommodate the immigrants. They can sort out the issues so everyone can be comfortable, okay? But by looking at what's going on here, what they're doing right, what steps you think in South Africa can be taken to reduce this tension and to find a solution? I don't think you have all the solutions, but as a journalist, as an immigrant living in the UK, is there anything you think in South Africa people can do?
Already we have to bear in mind that that's what we need to know. The Rainbow Nation have been stand as a Rainbow Nation that we knew that this country benefited from during the struggles. The South African has benefited from overall African countries, from Congo, from Nigeria, Ghana, Algeria. We know that most of the South African leaders, they have been taken care in where they went as refugees. I remember in Congo, I'm from Congo myself, Miriam Makeba was one of the, he was taken care in Congo. Not just in Congo, in Guinea as well, Miriam Makeba, and even President Mandela himself mentioned that he made a mention of what kind of support the ANC, not just ANC, but South Africa Black, they benefited during the apartheid. Yes. Algeria, Guinea, most of the countries, all over, Libya, all over. So what next, as per your question? I think what we need to do is to calm down the situation now, to control the riots, the movement locally, domestically. That's what needs to be done, because there are still a number of African migrants who are in South Africa, and they're scared, they're frightened.
Because we've seen many governments.
They don't know what next. There's struggles now. Some of them, they are ready. We've seen countries are evacuating their citizens.
Yeah, like Nigeria,
Ghana,
Swaziland,
Malawi, I think Mozambique as well.
To put whatever they can in place so they can, they can get them back to their countries. Yeah. Do you think there is a vacuum of lack of education on South Africans? They are not really aware of how much help they did get from other African countries. For example, Nigeria, from 1960 to 1995, has helped ANC, political party, with more than 61 billion American dollars. I remember when Nelson Mandela came out of jail, the first country he visited was, I think, Zaire.
It was Zaire that time,
Congo.
1994,
95. Because Mobutu helped Nelson Mandela in jail and our South Africans. If you see Mozambique, helped South African struggle. If you see the Zimbabwean, helped them a lot. But these are the very same people. They're trying to call illegal immigrants. They must leave. And leaving the people who created this problem. Do you think there's a lack of education there? They need to know exactly what happened.
Definitely it's prevalent. You can see that if you look, most of the riots or protests or demos are led by young people. You can tell the generation of 90s. Right. So, which they know much educated in terms of the struggle, the liberation struggle.
And they didn't almost live apartheid. They didn't see it.
There is a loophole. They don't know much of the support, military, diplomatic support, not just ANC, but Black South African gained from African countries in general, as you mentioned, Nigeria, Zaire in terms of Mobutu as well, Guinea, overall African in general,
Mozambique,
from north, south, east, west. According to some of the background stories as well, even Samora Machel from Mozambique pays his life in defending South Africans' liberation. So yes, there have to be a campaign of empowering or educating young people in terms of African values and the support that they gain. So which is lacking and is prevalent. If you've seen the reaction of some of the leaders of Dudula going to hospital, we haven't seen that. We haven't seen that. Going to hospital, going to schools.
Very sad. Someone is hospital. You are very sick. You ask them to leave. To leave.
So there is lack of humanity there. And this is a crime. So as I said, crime is crime.
And these are the very same people who helped you.
Yeah.
To get to where you are.
Is the same very young people. So they have to be, yes, I do agree. The reason of lack of education from South African youth or people who are from that generation, they don't know much of what support that they get. That's why you've seen the reactions. Africans are coming to take away jobs.
So one of the solutions is people to be educated.
Education is the key.
Young people, because this 95 now 2026, about 31 years in the middle. This is almost 2 generations.
It's a 2 generation, but it's not late. It's not late, but that's education is the key. If you look some of the scholars in South Africa, you look elite people who are not in politics, but elite people. They are different views compared to the leaders of so-called Dudula. It's not just Dudula mentioned. There are some other groups as well. So their views are balancing. You can see scholars, researchers, professors, students even. They've got different views compared to the group of people, topless, wearing lion skin with
Zulu. Original Zulu.
They are portraying, old values or traditional values of warrior.
But what they're forgetting is all these values comes from, because Zulu is up in
Zimbabwe,
Congo,
coming down.
Yeah. So it was where they were asked where they came from. They say we come from Zulu, from up, which maybe Central Africa. So this was where they got all this culture, costumes and all that. So do they think they created it, or so they can show people we are this, so we are powerful, you guys can live? Right.
No, I listened to, I think it's one of the popular Dudula leader. The big guys. He was saying that that's what Zulu, Shaka Zulu used to do to defend the borders of the country. But you cannot compare the period of time. That period of time, it was in terms of, it was domination in empires, conquest. That listen, we have to conquer this territory to make our empire to be stronger, which is totally different from where we're living now. 1963, African unions were created. It was Organisation of the l'Unité Africaine, African Union Organization, 1963. That was May 1963. Pan-Africans, the pioneer of Pan-Africans, the founding fathers of African Union, the one we create now. That was before even the EU. I think during that time, it was before they had the idea of making an African 1955 already with Kwame Nkrumah, and it came to 1963. So South Africa now, the new generation, as you're saying, young people, because of lack education, the loophole in education, they are forgetting that the values of Pan-African values they are going against those.
So that's an advice to South African politicians. It's your duty to educate the young people enough, because we seem to look like they lack that part. Africa must unite. You say unity of Africa since 1963. So TV's time. What I can say today's discussion reminds us of a very difficult truth. A wounded society can turn against the vulnerable instead of confronting the powerful. But Africa must resist temptation. Because division is expensive, hatred is expensive, violence is very expensive, and the dream of Africa unity cannot survive if border becomes wall of fear. The real struggle before us is not South Africans versus migrants. It is poverty versus dignity, corruption versus justice, fear versus solidarity, and perhaps the greatest question of all, will Africans build a future together or continue inheriting borders and divisions created by colonial history? The answer to that question will shape the future of our continent. As we close tonight's program, we'll leave you with these thoughts. The true enemy of Africa is not the street vendor from Zimbabwe, not the shop owned by Somalians, not the engineer from Nigeria, not the worker from Malawi, not certainly a doctor from Congo. The true enemy remains poverty, corruption, inequality, bad government, exploitation, and fear. If Africans fight one another while those problems continue growing, then the continent will be lost. But Africans stand together, demanding justice, opportunity, dignity, and accountable leadership, then another future is possible. A strong future, a united future, a Pan-African future. We'll come back next week to see what will happen on 30th of June, and we will let you know. Thank you for watching. It was Inside Out.
Thank you.